Yeah, that's the most exhilarating intro of all time.
Pose, I love the edit that you made for that. You're
I get so
extremely
locked
talented.
in when we hear that countdown, and I got
It's actually the best part of our show. It's the best part of every live stream. It's just that 30 seconds. If anybody just tunes in, just watch that first 30 seconds and tune out because the rest of the shit sucks. But the beginning is really good.
Brian Bullock calling
We're
us
late
out.
because
Are you
Brandon
late?
was taking a sweet ass time to get in here.
That is not the case at all. Brumball was out here fucking around for hours.
We
told
were
him,
all
8
here at
o'clock-
8:05.
8 o'clock. Oh my god.
We were all here at 8:05.
We had to tweet it out, boys.
It was
All
like I
right,
had to
we got
spell.
it. We got to let the people know that we're live because sometimes YouTube sells us. But we're here. We made it a little late, thanks to Brandon or Brumbaugh. Who knows who's at fault?
We're gonna put
point
or
fingers.
hose.
Nope. wasn't
Speaking of
me.
those, why don't we just open the show with? We got a little bit of a push from our last video that dropped earlier this morning. I think we got 4 or 5 comments on the petition to shave your beard. So how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, but
And
we also got the most recent comment was Hose is the only one losing in this situation.
I
You
did
two
see
need to do
that.
something.
Yeah, I did see that. You had somebody come to your aid, which is cool, I guess, for you. But here's the deal. So if it does come down to it, and if you do, if the terms are met, and we find a shave your beard term, and it happens, are you going to shave it on the live stream? Can we make that a thing?
I feel like it'd be annoying to hear
You would have to
an
mute
electric
your mic.
razor. I
just
can.
mute
I
your
just
mic.
gotta find. Yeah, I guess I can. I just have to. I'd like to not have to make clean up afterwards. But is that
Dwayne-
baby oil or sweat? It's neither. I think. I don't know. I just
He's
shined.
just glowing.
I just showered.
He's just glistening.
I just showered a little bit ago. I was grinding at the local Iron Paradise.
You see what Keaton said?
Jose shaves a beard. Brum and Brandon take a scooter to the knee. Repeatedly even deal.
Brum and I can
like
just... We
What's
can meet
repeatedly?
locally, Brum. We can meet, at one of our houses, and we can just take a scooter and I'll hit you in the knee, then you hit me in the knee till somebody quits while Hose is shaving his beard, and see which one happens first. Either one of us quits or Hose gets the beard gone. That's a lot we can do.
That is true. Dwayne said that we're the best. No, we appreciate you with Brandon's late girl outfit. People are like,
Late girl shirt. Cheers to
your
you,
beard.
William. Cheers to you, William.
Here comes Tijuana coming in saying we all need to shave our heads. 3 shaved
I'm not
heads.
shaving my head.
I'm
but
on
I'll
board
gladly
for a
shave
shaved
it.
head.
Brandon does
bet
it. It's
we've
not even
been
a
there.
punishment. You do it. You have to. Like
You're
it's
not
not even an
doing it
option
anymore.
for you.
I don't have to anymore.
It's not a punishment for Brandon. We got to figure out what.
Sounds like we're just
What it-
taking scooters to the knee. Or actually,
I'll
scooters
shave
to
my
the
beard.
knee.
Look, we can circle back to it, but you guys come up with punishments for yourself, and
For your
I will
wax.
agree to something for my beard.
Brandon waxing his head.
That would suck.
Keaton's coming in with heat.
That would
Okay,
hurt.
we'll circle back to this. You guys just think of punishments for yourselves. I'll agree to shave my beard if we have a top 3 class. I think that's fair.
So it
'Cause
is
it's
a top
possible,
3
but
class.
It's not like it's possible, but I feel like the odds aren't super. They're not there.
It counts as 3. So if it's 3,
Yeah.
2, or 1,
3,
it's not
2, or
like-
1.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
but it can't be
4,
4
because 4 is
No,
pretty much
bullshit.
3.
Yeah, or 4.
No, it's not.
Or
it's
4.
Not.
So it ends up being a top 4 class, and
No,
then that will
That's
result
not
in...
no, because then you could say 5 is basically 4. And
I
if
mean,
you're at
it's-
5, you
know.
might as well round up, and it's might as well go to 10.
I mean, that seems fair to me.
Yeah.
Nope. Top 3, I'll agree, but you guys got to come up with fair punishments for yourselves. Or we take some chat suggestions that aren't, potentially going to put you in the hospital.
Yeah, scooter to the knee just doesn't sound fun. What about a nipple piercing for Brum?
Oh my god, no way. 0% chance. Brandon's punishment is to film a parody Space Force recruitment ad. That would be elite.
Space Force
Very,
recruitment?
yes. Deal. I think that would actually be pretty fun, and we can
And we have
instead
to
of our
upload it to YouTube.
instead of our exhilarating 30-second countdown, that could be the beginning of a live stream one day.
So I need to make a 30-second ad about recruiting for the Space
About-
Force.
The Space Force, correct?
All right. I mean, whatever. And Brum gets a nipple piercing.
No, I'll help you with
Just
the
one of
paperwork.
them, and you can always take it out. You
Yeah,
know,
you two have to produce a high quality 30-second ad for why you should join the Space Force.
I'll get a TPS asset too, just for fun. I'll probably do it at OU Texas this year.
Only half his beard. I'll shave it all at that point.
could
I
see
was
that.
actually thinking we should definitely find a way to just make a few "This Doesn't Suck" T-shirts, because I feel like at this point it's kind of just become a thing. For the show,
It's cool to see. I like that. This doesn't suck. It's going to become a TPS staple.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure it'd be cool. Yeah,
make
And
a
also-
segment. This doesn't suck.
this doesn't suck. Or like a good
Moment of
yeah.
the week.
Well, I would say today doesn't suck. What do you guys think?
Today definitely does not suck. I guess we can finally get into why people even watch this dumbass show. Oklahoma got a 3-star offensive lineman in, holy shit, I forgot his name already. My
Eugene
bad.
Brooks.
Eugene Brooks. God, today's been a long day. Sorry, boys. We talked about him in our video this morning, but who wants to start off? Brum, what do you think of this of today?
So first off, I will say we got roasted a little bit for listing various weights during his, during the video, and off his huddle video, he was like 350 pounds. Someone even said at one point he was up to 380, which I don't know if that's real or not, but I saw that as a comment. But on his Twitter, I think I checked. What is he? 6'3", 325 now, according to his Twitter bio. So. That's, I assume, the most up-to-date and accurate information. The huddle might be a little outdated, but again, getting a guy like him, Devon Mitchell commitment, and then you get Eugene Brooks, and I mean, just things are just rolling right now. And obviously Taylor Tatum, I don't want to skip him, but I think this is a big-time win for Coach B going head-to-head against Texas. I know he's a 3-star. But with the size of 6'3", 325 going into your senior year of high school, I just couldn't imagine being that large. That is pretty impressive. If you have the frame, I feel like Coach B can develop you and get you to where you want to be. Half the time, half the battle is just getting that frame. And I mean, he's already there. And obviously he can put on weight and lose weight. And I agree. That's why you should be watching his Late Girl shirt.
The Late Girl shirt is a staple. I'll wear it every live stream.
How many years have you had that shirt? I swear I've been seeing that shirt for like 4 years.
We were going. It was one of the. We used to go on a float trip in college every single summer. Remember that shit? One of the years, I think it was like the second annual float trip. So this shirt's got to be 6 or 7 years old. Me and Klein were on the way. We were dragging behind everybody, and we had to stop at Walmart the night before to pick up a 30-pack and. Some little town, Oklahoma, on the way to Tahlequah, and there was a whole rack of them, and I literally could not buy it. I thought it was perfect. I wish it said River Girl, but at the time I wanted it to be a River Girl shirt. But in hindsight, I'm glad it's Lake Girl. I think because I spend a lot more time at the lake than I do the river, so it's fitting. I wear it every day to the lake too. But back to Eugene Brooks. The exciting part with Eugene Brooks is there's been a lot of chatter, complaints, whatever you want to say about the offensive line recruiting specifically. And granted, it has been a little bit down. Prior to Eugene Brooks committing today, I'm pretty sure it was only Isaiah Autry in the class. And obviously you got guys like Grant Bree out there still. But it was down a little bit. So it's good to see, the Sooners pick up a very, very large human kid that I think can be a very big contributor in the SEC in a couple years. Like Jose said in the video today, I don't think he's going to be a year 1 or even year 2 player. He's going to be a guy who comes in year 3. But I think the combination of Coach B, who we all think is the best offensive line coach in the country, mixed with Coach Schmitty, who's going to get that body right, get him in tip-top athletic shape. Just with Coach B running shit on the football field and Coach Schmitty getting him ready athletically and physically, I think this kid can have a very, very bright career at Oklahoma, and I'm very excited to see him out there.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, we got told to do our homework a couple times in the comment section, so we did, and I think it just reinforced my belief that it is going to take at least till year 2. Depending on the needs, because he's definitely going to be an interior offensive lineman. I think that's where Oklahoma is going to be lacking depth at some point in the near future, because we have been recruiting a lot of offensive tackles, and you can only have so many of those, so eventually they will kick in. But Eugene does play in the interior in high school, and he has gone out to tackle, but mainly has played guard. From what we've seen, he just does. It really is just when his body is ready, because he has the size. You just have to make sure that. I mean, someone said that he's like, people can't get by him because he's so big. That's not how it works. Like, there are other really big humans that play offensive line, and they get blown by if they're not technically sound to have quick enough feet. I don't think that's going to be a problem for him. You just can't expect him to come in year one and be even a good, contributor to the offensive line. He's more than likely giving you guys that red shirts, if I were to guess, because he does need to spend a lot more time with Schmitty, getting a meal plan right, getting his body right. In year two as a redshirt freshman, I think that's his opportunity to really come in and take snaps with the starting lineup as being part of the first unit for Oklahoma. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Sometimes, not all kids are going to come in and contribute year one. Most kids won't contribute year one. And being a redshirt freshman, I think, is only going to benefit him in the long run to actually be NFL ready when his time comes.
I think, if anything, I think there's a legitimate argument that can be made that coming from high school to the collegiate level, maybe outside of quarterback, that offensive line is probably the toughest transition to make, just because these kids are going to be bigger, faster, stronger, and you can't take a play off on the offensive line. You're going to get hit every play. You're going to get you have a very, very important job every single play, run or pass. And I just think the transition from high school to playing against kids who are better in college, and especially at the SEC level, that transition from high school, from O-line, from high school to college for the O-line, has got to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, transitions in the league. So it's definitely no knock on him if he doesn't start year one, and he probably won't.
Yeah, and I would also argue, expanding upon that, is talking about these recruiting platforms. I think rating and ranking offensive linemen is the hardest thing to do, because it's not a flashy position. At least as a receiver, you can see all the yards, and running backs and tight ends and defensive linemen. I mean, you can see the stats reflect that. There's really no stats for an offensive lineman that's going to be really meaningful to, kind of an indication of how good they're going to be. I mean, it is hard, and it's something that I think not only do, recruiting platforms struggle, but also coaches struggle to identify. But there's plenty of guys that are 3 stars or even low 4 stars that Oklahoma's identified and brought in and has, have come in and contributed and played well and have gone on to play in the NFL. And Jose, I'm glad you put this up here. We're already north of 125, and we've been on for 13 minutes, and half the time we were talking about Jose's beard and Brendan's Lake Girl shirt. So we appreciate it. Like, subscribe, do what?
That goes back to my argument that I bring up on this program all the time. I think sometimes, obviously, as Jose said earlier, this is a show that we talk about Sooner football and sports and things of that nature. But on these live streams, sometimes you guys will get too locked in on football, and I'm over here in the chat, following love stories and following just shit that doesn't matter. And that I think is something we need to do a better job on this program of is talking about nothing sometimes.
Sometimes that's good. I would agree with you. But yeah, everyone that's watching, again, be sure to like, subscribe. We're doing this on a weekly basis and at 8 p.m. Central, so we really appreciate you tuning in for this. So again, Eugene Brooks, we should probably get some shirts made. This does not suck. Today is another one of those days.
Well, hold on. Would anybody be interested in a This Does Not Suck shirt if TPS were to produce them? We get a little TPS logo on them, maybe get some cool colors in there, and just says this doesn't suck. I think it'd be fun.
Things that don't suck. OU football.
Boom. Or and then we could even do spins on it, things that suck, and put a fucking USC logo on there or some shit, or Texas or something.
Here's a question that I think it might actually make us think a little bit with this recruiting class and where Oklahoma could be. What 3-star that's currently in the class could end up a 4-star come? It says signing day, but I think it's basically by the end of the rankings being updated, which I'm pretty sure is right after signing day.
So talking about 3 stars according to 247 only. He's a 4-star composite on 247, but 247's rating is Jaden Jackson is a 3-star according to 247 with their evaluation. And another guy, I'll let you guys go around. I don't want to take all of them, but I think Jaden Jackson is a guy that could ascend up into that 4-star according to 247 and become a higher 4-star just because, he's got 32 offers. He's 6'2", 300 pounds, playing the nose tackle position at the IMG Academy, playing alongside David Stone. They're going to be a dynamic duo, and they're going to be hard to stop. And I think Jaden Jackson's going to put together a really good year and some really good film and can ascend up into that 4-star, solid 4-star range just because he's that talented, obviously with 30-something offers, and playing alongside David Stone, that obviously helps too.
How about a guy who's another 247 composite 4-star, Michael Hawkins? I just think with the quarterback position, he should have a really solid year. Put up big numbers. I think it's easier for a quarterback because, as you mentioned, Bro, with quarterbacks, it's easy to track stats, yards, touchdowns, things of that nature. Rushing, his rushing numbers. I think with the big season that we expect Michael Hawkins to have, maybe he leads his team to a state championship game or whatever. I think Michael Hawkins gets the nod, and I could even see our guy Eugene Brooks getting the nod. He's a guy who I think can make it.
I'm gonna go with an Oklahoma guy in Xavier Robinson. The stats he puts up, and we talked about it when he first committed in that video, are crazy. He puts up numbers like you'd expect him to probably be ranked in the top 5 running backs if you were playing Texas football. And I think that's probably what's hurting him. His level of competition probably does not help where what people are evaluating him as. But when you just put his statistics versus anyone else in the country at that position, he's up there. It might even be at the very top with how he plays the running back position. I guess next year we'll see. We talked about it again, like how the offense looks with Kevin Sperry as quarterback. Will it become more pass heavy? Will it highlight his catching ability and show that he does have a different, have more skills than just running downhill? I think Xavier could be the guy that would be the 4-star if I had to pick one.
And Jose, you bring up a good point because his stat line is really hard to even wrap your mind around, for a running back being a 3-star. And it very well could be the level of competition. So I definitely agree with you there. And Brandon, I agree with you on Michael Hawkins. It's kind of crazy to me that a guy that's, competes well in those, competitions, in the off season, and he's put together some solid tape, would be a 3-star. And I don't even remember what exactly his rating is, as far as the best quarterbacks in this 24 class, according to
24/7, he is the 30 or 24/7 has him as a 36 best quarterback. His composite is 19.
You can't tell me there's 35 better quarterbacks in this class.
I think it'd be hard pressed to find it. Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I'm not convinced. It just must be that they need to update because that's hard. I'm not saying he's number 1, but he's definitely better than where they've got him right now.
Are you guys losing any confidence in David Stone? I'm looking at the chat over here. I still feel like he's a Sooner. What do you guys think?
Oh, he's the one I feel the best about as far as 5
stars go. I kind of agree.
Why?
Connor Mullins is saying Stone to MSU. Connor's not just being impatient, and I'm a little impatient too with this. I feel like he's taking it a long time, but at the same time, he's a 5-star player. He can take his time. He's earned that right. But I still think unless something drastic happens, he's going to be a Sooner. We always say follow the visits, follow his social media, shit like that. He spends more time on OU campus than fucking students do. It feels like.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Keaton brought it up, but Michigan State has really not been a player in the last month or two. He's went and visited them, but it doesn't feel like they're a legitimate threat anymore. It seems like, now that you've got Robinson on board, they look pretty good with Caden Durham. I still will sit here and say that I don't think Durham is in this class. But
I'm going to credit you now at this point because now you've stuck to your guns on that for like 3 weeks. As far as Caden Durham's not going to become a Sooner, because it was every other week. You changed your mind. You're consistent now with saying Caden Durham is not a Sooner.
I'm consistent. Yeah. So I mean, I think everything's pointing towards David Stone should be a Sooner. I bet he's committed somewhere by the end of next month. I mean, I just feel like how much more does he need to see? I mean, could he drag it out into January, or December? Of course he could. I just don't feel like he needs to. And it will be interesting to see. Does he make the trip back for the party at the Palace this week? I don't think he does. And if he doesn't, I don't think it's that big of a deal. He just moved back to Florida, and he's been, like Brandon said, he's been on campus more than some students have probably in the last 3 months.
Probably more than me and Jose did. Brum, you were probably nerding it out on campus because you studied a lot. I mean, you picked a pretty tough major. You had to get shit done. Now, Jose, I don't want to hear it. There was one. This is a true story. I think it was our junior year, maybe sophomore, junior year, whatever year that we lived at the Falcon. That was junior year, right?
Junior.
Yeah.
Junior year, right? Okay, we were junior year. Jose had a communication class. I want to say we were 6 or 7 weeks into the semester. It wasn't brand new or whatever. This man woke up, went to his, let's say, I don't remember the exact situation, but let's say it was Tuesday. He went to his Monday, Wednesday classes on a Tuesday, or on a Tuesday, Thursday, went to his Monday, Wednesday class. This man went to the just totally wrong classroom, wrong times, everything, fucked it all up. That just shows you how much time Jose spent on campus.
It was a one-time mess up, and
how do you mess that up 7 weeks deep?
It was a long night before, I guess.
Yeah, we have plenty of long nights and plenty of not campus nights.
Look, going back to David Stone and taking the spotlight off me for a second, it seems like he's a lock. It'd be really hard to imagine that he helped recruit, or potentially helped recruit Jaden Jackson to Oklahoma and then leaves him high and dry and goes anywhere else. Like, that would be crazy. I can't imagine what that locker room at IMG would be like if that were to happen. Jaden Jackson, I mean, at that point, if David Stone ended up going somewhere else, he'd probably start to worry a little bit about Jaden Jackson's commitment to OU, because it did seem like Stone influenced it maybe a little bit. Who knows exactly how much, but it's tough to imagine him being anywhere but Oklahoma because of Jaden. I think Michael, that definitely helps, but Jaden Jackson is, to me, what solidifies Stone is going to be a Sooner. And we could be wrong at the end of the day. Like, this stuff changes all the time, especially for 5-star defensive linemen. It's just hard to imagine that he had a guy that seemingly was a Texas lock for 1 or 2 months and quickly switched him to be on the other side of the Red River rivalry.
I was just going to say this. Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Like, he seemed to have genuine interest in being a Shorthorn. He put a lot of shit on social media. He had a lot of it was tracking very well for Texas, let's say. And then he posted a picture, man, on Twitter in all of his Texas gear looking like an idiot. And David Stone quote tweeted it and was like, "This ain't it, fam." And like a week later, the dude committed to Oklahoma. Like, that's crazy. That to me feels like he's not minorly influencing it. I feel like he's coming to Oklahoma and he's telling kids he's coming to Oklahoma and he's waiting for whatever reason. But
well, I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a, it's kind of an art, and it's kind of building it up a little bit and getting us to talk about it. I mean, it's just people are talking about his name. Where's he going? What's he doing? If he was committed 6 months ago, he'd be an afterthought. And I mean, not really would be an afterthought, but this wouldn't be a topic of conversation at this point. It'd just be like, man, we can't wait to see him on campus. And so he's building up, and I mean, when you build up this long and you build up your name, I mean, you get better NIL and things. I mean, not just from the schools, but I mean, just generally on Twitter and things like that. People know who you are. And people think, oh gosh, he might go to my school, I'm going to follow him. And I mean, I can't blame him, but I could see how it becomes a really big distraction when you go into your football season, your senior year. And it seems like that's the trend with a lot of players, not just Stone, but, guys want to commit before or right in the beginning of their football season. I mean, Caden Durham is scheduled to announce August 25th, I want to say. Yeah, 25th.
So July, like 56th, third, some shit.
Yeah, something around there. Yeah, and then it goes all the way. You got Michael Patterson McDonald on the 31st, and then we talk about potentially Williams Wineria maybe July 32nd, and then could David Stone be 20? Maybe July 53rd, 54th, and you get Caden Durham right around that time. I mean, it could be a great July.
Yeah,
it could be.
Imagine what July 150 is going to look like. You have a pretty decent football team playing out in Oklahoma, potentially a top 4 recruiting class, because if we do top 3, I'm losing something in this deal.
Oh, for you, top 4, you're losing class, because it's going to be 4 only. Because if we agree to top 3 and we make 4, that's too damn close for you to not shave it. So
no,
it's
that's
going to be top 4.
That's how a bet works. If you lose, you lose.
Not here.
If you lose by 1 point, or if you lose by 100, you still take 1 loss.
Not on this program.
Yes, we do.
So I think the consensus is we all feel good about David Stone, and I think we just have to sit here, take a step back. Patience. It's hard. It's hard to be patient. Obviously, you want another 5-star commit, but when you step back and you look so far, at the month of July, it's been great. And with Michael Patterson McDonald scheduled to announce 31st, like you said, Jose Jaden Jackson's already in the boat. Xavier Robinson's in the boat. I mean,
if I was 5-star as highly touted as David Stone is, I would commit somewhere and decommit every other day. I would have Hayes Fawcett working his ass off. Just making 1,000 edits. Just having so much fun with it. I'd commit to fucking Hawaii, then decommit, and commit to Miami and decommit, and commit to Penn State, decommit. Obviously, at the end of the day, I'd go to Oklahoma, but I would have a lot of commitments and a lot of graphics.
Speaking of commitments, did you guys see that T.A. Cunningham, blast from the past, committed to Penn State?
I did. Good for him.
We are.
It seemed like he was having a tough time. And I don't know if it was, not home situation or what, but he moved, from Georgia to L.A., and then only spent the football season there, basically, and now lives in Miami, right? Who knows? He might be transferring somewhere close to Penn State for his last season of football. I don't know. That's kind of just guessing there. But I'm glad he's going somewhere good. And Penn State produces decent defensive line talent, so he's not in a bad spot for his position.
No, not at all.
I would love to see Danny Okoye. You guys know how I feel about Danny Okoye. If you guys haven't seen our episode with Danny Okoye, you should check it out. That kid's going to be special. I think he has the potential. Forget the stars, forget the ratings. If he commits to Oklahoma, he could be the best defensive line in the class. Defensive lineman player in the class.
Yeah. He's at Alabama, isn't he?
He is there this weekend. But he currently, and Drum reported this on their podcast earlier this week, he has 2 official visits to Tennessee and to Oklahoma. Tennessee is the last one that's currently planned. So I think he is expected to be, on campus for the party at the Palace. So I'm sure he's going to be trying to get him to bump that back to go after Tennessee. And again, I watched Thune and Drum's podcast this weekend, and Thune brought up a good point. You don't want to, if you're Oklahoma, priority is to make sure that your visit is after Tennessee, because if you let him go to Rocky Top weeks before his commitment, it's going to be an uphill battle, because that'd be a really fun environment, especially if it's a good game.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've seen what happens with good recruiting, teams that can recruit, like Oklahoma. Tennessee can obviously recruit. They close out, and when they get the last visit, Taylor Tatum was silently committed to USC, and then he visited Oklahoma. He's like, yeah, I'm out, because Coach Venables.
Tremendous growth on his part.
Yeah, I mean, it was really smart of him, but it's just whenever you go to visit places like that, you're not getting away. And so I agree. I mean, you got to push it back to the last weekend right before his commitment, or you got to do something. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think Danny Okoye is in this class? I mean, I want him to be.
Friend of the show, Danny Okoye. We forgot to mention that, but friend of the show, Danny Okoye. We do like to say that too. I don't know. I hope so. We need to text him and get him back on at some point. Maybe after his Alabama. Maybe we can get him on while he's visiting Alabama. How fucking sick would that be? We can, hey, take 30 minutes out of your Alabama visit. Don't listen to Nick Saban. Don't listen to any of these idiots. Just come join Two Plane Sports and walk us through your visit, and we can tell him not to go there.
The podcast that recruits for Oklahoma.
Correct.
Things that don't suck.
Who knows?
Sports. Maybe Nick Saban is going to reach out and say, "Hey, how about you guys throw a bone this way, recruit for Alabama?" We're not going to, but
we're not going to.
Well, if the NIL package is big enough, all right,
you're not wrong there. But I mean, with the Okoye thing, I don't know. When he was on with us, he said like he doesn't care about playing with like that's not priority for him. But at some point, you would imagine it's kind of hard to not think about that possibility of playing with a guy like David Stone and Williams Nwaneri, being on the opposite side of Williams Nwaneri next to Jaden and David Stone potentially one day, let's say 2025, assuming they could be taking more time as starters. But that would be, it might not be like what pushes him over the edge to potentially commit to Oklahoma, but it's going to be something that definitely would play in OU's favor if they do end up getting all of those guys on that power line graphic. Because you've got two committed in Wyatt and Jaden, right? OU's currently favored for Williams Nwaneri, the number one defensive lineman in the class, or at defensive end in the class. David Stone, the number one defensive tackle in the class. Who else is on there? Zena Umazulu. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. Sorry about it. And obviously, I don't know if OU's leading, but OU's definitely in the race there, which is crazy to think because his brother is at Texas. Then you got Okoye still there, Dominic McKinley, another 5-star defensive tackle they could be playing next with. Like this line would be hard to deny. Maybe you don't want to be in that. Like maybe that's not the reason he commits again, but I feel like you'd be crazy as a defensive lineman that's being recruited by Oklahoma to not consider the possibilities of what you could do with that group.
It would be kind of crazy to not consider that because, at the end of the day, you can be the best player in the country, but you don't go play at Vanderbilt and go play along guys that aren't near your level. Because you're just going to get double teamed the entire time. There's a reason why. You need to be good yourself, but when you're getting matched up with great talent around you, you just elevate to that next level.
Sorry, we're not laughing at you.
It wouldn't suck. We've talked about on other live streams that I wish Sugars was. The fact that Sugars ever got shut down in Norman, it's if you know, you know. But Sugars was a fine establishment, a top tier establishment, a 5-star establishment, a Norman staple. I think there would be nothing cooler than an NIL deal with Sugars.
It was definitely a staple.
Staple, sure. 5-star, way too far.
It was an elite establishment.
Maybe a low 3-star.
Yeah,
no, it's 5-star. Potential number one recruit in the nation. Yeah,
but
definitely not.
Yeah. Well, we're north of 180 people that are watching right now, so we're knocking on the door of 200. Be sure to like, subscribe. Get some more people in here. Sooner throwing some 1-star maybe. But yeah, so man, we're starting to build this pretty good. Be sure to like. So, I hope Danny Okoye is a part of this class. You would obviously hope that all the talent around him would be attractive. But at the end of the day, he seems to be a little bit of a guy that he's going to do whatever he feels like, and he won't really kind of feel the pressure or have peer pressure to go, make his decision. He's going to go where he wants to go. And I hope Oklahoma can get him on campus during the season around the officials, maybe an unofficial trip. That would be nice considering he's in Tulsa. It's only a 2-hour drive down there. It'd be nice to see him just show up and make that trip. I think that would be a good sign for Oklahoma if you saw that.
Yeah, this class is we talked about it at the beginning of the summer. By August, you would assume by the end of August, you would assume most of this class is wrapped up with. You've got, and with the exception of a couple guys like Okoye, so you just gotta hope. And it's like the schedule is extremely favorable. Oklahoma should have a good year, potentially competing for Big 12 championship. And if everything goes the way that we all hope it goes, a playoff berth, which would be awesome to get there in Venables year 2 after such a bad season in year 1. This entire thing could be going in OU's direction. They just actually have to show it on the field.
Definitely could. So another 5-star. I mean, we've talked about a little bit. I mean, obviously the title of this podcast is 5 stars incoming. Is Williams Nwaneri. I mean, it seems like this weekend he's making the trek out to Oregon. I think he's swinging by Oklahoma as well, maybe a little bit earlier. Sounds like Jose's starting his bath right now.
My bad.
Just messing with you. And he's making the trip out there. You would think that this is the last weekend that he's really kind of making his decisions, right? I mean, you would think. I mean, obviously Oregon's a little scary after the Peyton Bowen situation. Oklahoma ended up winning out, but I mean, you can't say you feel totally safe.
Things that suck, Oregon and their jerseys. I'll say it again. Their jerseys suck. They have way too many. No, he's not going to Oregon. I mean, I agree. In all seriousness, Oregon could be a little scary just because Dan Lanning is – I think he is a younger version of – he's a young person trying to be what Brent Venables is. He's not quite as established, but he's a young defensive mind. I think he's a little more – he's probably got a little more swag than a Brent Venables, probably a little more hip. Things like that. He might relate more to these kids who are 16, 17 years old, but at the end of the day, I still think he's going to end up being a Sooner. I think we can outlast Oregon, outlast all their colorful jerseys, all that shit. I think Oklahoma wins.
Well, and if looking at it glass half full, right? That Oregon visit wasn't supposed to happen until September, and he's taking a visit to Oklahoma before that Oregon visit. If, again, looking at it half full, like he was moving up that visit to try to get just the last, it's kind of like, it seems like it's checking a box. Like, let me just make sure, double check, which is basically what Brent Venables asked all these guys to do, that I will 100% want to be at Oklahoma, assuming all the crystal balls are currently accurate, which he is 100% crystal ball or future casted to Oklahoma. Once he checks that box and he knows Oklahoma's a place, then it's going to be like you're probably going to hear rumors throughout the season, right? You're going to hear other fan bases say, "Oh, Williams Nwaneri might start entertaining something else just because it's the number one defensive lineman in the class." Like other schools aren't going to stop pursuing him just because he's committed to Oklahoma. But you'd feel way more comfortable knowing that he's checked all his boxes going to the season. And he knows he wants to be Sooner. Like Oklahoma's got to really mess up to not keep most, if not all, of this class come signing day.
Yeah. As long as they play well, they should be good. I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to, put it all out in the field. So
winning sports is important.
It is. It's very important. So I think I saw a question roll through.
Take Lloyd's question. He's asked two questions now.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So who are some players at the party at the Palace? Who will be there? I think it's going to be a great visitor list. Obviously there's going to be a lot of talent. The first guy that comes to my mind is who we just were talking about is Danny Okoye. He's going to be there. Michael Patterson McDonald will be there, but there's a couple of guys that are really, really important. Obviously, Okoye is important, but Michael Boganowski, or Brandon likes to say Mike Wazowski. From Junction City, Kansas. He's going to be visiting. It seems to be an OU K-State battle there, and I would hope with this visit, it kind of solidifies and basically, make sure that he's in this class. And another guy that's really important, and it's, his recruitment's pretty much over. I mean, after this weekend, is going to be Grant Bree or Bricks. I think it's Grant Bree, but it might be Bricks. I can't remember how to exactly say his name. I know I've been saying Bree, but I might have been wrong. I butcher a lot of names. So, but the offensive lineman, I think he's number 5 tackle in the class. I can't remember what 247 has him, but Boganowski and Grant Bricks are the two of some of the most important recruits. I mean, obviously everyone's important who's visiting. But as far as a timeline goes, those guys are like, you got to do a full court press on. And we just passed 200. We're at 201 right now. There we go.
Shout out, y'all. Things that don't suck. TPS community.
That is a fact. So we really appreciate it. And like, subscribe, and things that don't suck. Our viewers, we really appreciate it.
And then, Brian, back to your point with Grant Bree, he is 24/7 has him 11th overall tackle. He's a composite top 5 though. Okay. But I agree with what you're saying. I think with the way the class is shaping up and the way we think it's going to go, you think the D-line are coming. You think you're pretty good at receiver. You've got your quarterback in the class already in Hawkins. You've got an elite level running back. The class is looking good. The offensive line, again, is like the only down spot of the class, if you will, with only 2 commitments right now. And Grant Bree being a top 135 player, no matter how you look at it, a solidified 4-star, a guy who is stamped by Alabama. He's got all the good offers. He's another kid who's big. I think he's 6'5", 285, something like that. Grant Bree, I think, is the most important one in the on the visitor list. That's my opinion.
I'm just going to agree 100% with you guys. I feel like you took all the points. Shout out Brandon. I don't know how Brandon Hill, not the Brandon that's on the screen. I don't know how you watched us for this long. I don't know if I could have. We've said some really dumb stuff, and we're definitely not very good at the beginning, but I'd like to think we don't suck that much now. Definitely not great. We're okay.
We do appreciate that, Brandon. That's really sick, actually.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how many people have been watching us for more than a year that are currently in here. Because, man, we've been doing it now for, 2 years? 2 years and 3 months at this point. April 1st, 2021 was our first show.
April 1st, 2021. Yep.
Yeah.
Stink-ass cat, thank you. It kind of sucks, though. Like, we all know it kind of sucks. Yeah. We always talk about how we don't get why people watch us, but we appreciate
it. This is the point of the show, though. So I'm glad it feels like that, D, because it is just, we're just getting together, shooting the shit, drinking some cold beers, except for Brum. I feel like Brum has not a cold beer on this program in 8 months.
It's been a long time.
Down his gullet.
It's been a long time, man. I mean, it's, you got to watch my waistline, right? Man, 2 years. Oh, man, that's a long time. That's commitment right there. Appreciate that.
We got some friends in here. It's Bricks.
Bricks.
Not Bricks.
Well, add it to the list. Like as Brum mentioned, like we probably butchered 55 names since the origin of the show to where we are now.
Yeah. Well, and something that we've talked about doing, and this is probably a good time to mention it, with 200 people in here, talking about.
Brum, you need a blunt.
No.
That's another T-shirt. Brum needs a blunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw it on a T-shirt.
Throw it on the T-shirt. Talking about having a Two Plane Sports tailgate at one of the games. That would be pretty darn fun.
Well, hold on. First of all, I want to say something about that. We wanted to do that last year. Yeah. That was planned. We even went as far as to say we're going to be here and here and here, and we planned on meeting up. I think at O'Connell's was the intent, and
then you sold.
And no, it was actually Brum who sold. I wanted to get going early, and Brum was like, "Nah, we got time," and we didn't leave. We were in Oklahoma City, and I think it was a 2:30 kickoff, and we didn't leave till 10. And so we didn't make it to Norman until 11:30ish, and by that point, there was no chance to get to O'Connell's, and that Two Plane Sports community is 5,000% on Lieutenant Jacob Brumbaugh, who's not a lieutenant, by the way.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I don't think it was my fault.
It was 100% on you.
Yeah,
I remember it vividly. I was pissed secretly.
That's fake news.
No.
Yeah.
But we're planning on it. We just got to look at our schedules. I think the tentative plan is the UCF game, which apparently today was announced. That's going to be homecoming for Oklahoma. So that'd be a good game to figure something out. Get everyone together, all the boys, anyone that wants to come hang out. It'll be a doozy.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what if we get 200 people to show up at our tailgate and then we just have a two-plane sports party? That would be sick.
I would say we'd be the talk of the town.
The talk. Some would say.
Some would say we would be the talk of the town. 200 people at one small tent.
Yeah, I will be going.
Maybe not even a tent. Maybe not even a
It
tent.
would just be 200 people gathered. We don't have TVs.
Nope. We'll have a cooler.
We'll have a cooler with cold beer, though. And we can
Maybe some Jolly Ranchers.
Bring some cornhole. We can have a good time still. We can. And plus, like, the other games don't matter. I mean, we're here to watch Oklahoma at the end of the day, so.
And you guys will be in Tulsa, so I know Brum said he's going to try to go.
I think I have Army I have Army the weekend of the Tulsa game.
Oh.
Okay, well, you guys can go hang out with Brumbaugh at the Tulsa game. But yeah, we'll keep you guys updated. We're definitely trying to do something. Basically, I just have to find a way to do it.
Yeah, and another thing I've been seeing through the comments, it seems like people want some Two Planes gear.
I know, dude. It's cool to see. I mean, I personally want some Two Planes gear, and we don't have any Two Planes gear.
Yeah,
Koozies, I guess.
I'll start looking into it. We need to get it rolling. We'll get it going, and we need to get some gear out and try to start mailing it out to some people and seeing if we can't get that rolling for sure.
If anyone knows someone, we would love to work with someone that's local to the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That would help out a lot.
How about this one, boys? Good old Jasini.
I know that guy.
Yeah. So, I'd be curious if some people had some other questions. Did we miss any questions, Jose, that we haven't really talked about? If not,
we missed a quick question about somebody asked me if I wear this shirt when I watch Grey's Anatomy. Yes, but I wear it all the time. So I watch Grey's a lot. So there's a good chance this shirt will be on with Grey's on as well. Beautiful day to watch Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Man, can you guys believe that football is almost back? A week from Thursday is the Hall of Fame game. I know that's not really real football, but it's something.
It's the last week without football.
That is true. The last week without football, man. I can't.
Lloyd's got a question.
Who do you think will commit the event under the Sooners under the Stars or whatever it's called?
For the 2025 class.
Kamari Moore seems to be the popular pick right now. He's been getting a lot of crystal balls.
Yeah, I was going to say Kamari Moore seems logical as the guy that would commit. I'm trying to think who else is kind of on that edge in the 25 class. I don't think Isaiah Mosey will at this point, but you got to feel good about Isaiah Mosey just because of his connections to Oklahoma. Wait. Yep. Oh, okay.
Sammy, send us, if you can, shoot us a DM on Twitter.
Or an email, whatever.
An email. Yeah, an email. That's usually in our video descriptions. And we'll chat. I think it'd be really cool to, like we said, we've been talking about it forever, but we've never actually gotten around to it. We want to work with someone that is, making everything in the state. Yeah. Live stream, and we're back to me shaving my beard. Okay.
People want to see it, Hose. I'm telling you, it's a thing. I want to see it.
You have to do it for the people.
You guys got to come up with your own.
I think I would rather you shave your beard than Brum get a nipple piercing, and I do want Brum to get a nipple piercing.
So weird.
We've already discussed. Brandon and I have to make a Space Force recruitment video.
It's got to be well produced.
He's in a co-star. Who the hell is going to well produce our?
You guys.
We don't know how to do that.
Figure it out. Here, what are Stone's other options?
No one.
Basically, anyone that wants a 5-star defensive lineman, if we're going to be completely honest. He just has to open it up, says, you know what? I don't want to be at Oklahoma anymore. Who wants to come recruit me?
I mean, who's the most likely
Florida or Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Michigan State's a second at this point. I mean, I do think it could be Florida or Miami would be second and third, but I don't think Miami has the resources to compete, and I just don't. I think he's ended up at Oklahoma, but I mean, I guess the top five it's Oklahoma, Michigan State, Florida, Miami, no particular order.
No.
I freaking hope so, man. After he committed to Ohio State, my first reaction was, oh, he's not giving up on this. I don't think they have. I just don't. It doesn't seem like Pierce really has any interest of leaving Ohio State. What's the linebacker coach's name?
James Laurinaitis.
Laurinaitis.
Ooh, Jinx, you owe me a soda. Yeah, but no, I was going to say that about Ohio State. Ohio State has two of the best in the game at their respective coaching position jobs, and Brian Hartline and James Laurinaitis. And unfortunately for Oklahoma, Peyton Pierce is committed to one of those two coaches. I think it's going to be next to impossible. But as Ho said when it originally happened, and I think maybe we all did, but I know Ho's for sure did it. Oklahoma kind of fucked that one up. Let's call it what it is. I think Oklahoma dropped the ball on that one. I think Oklahoma should have landed it, but at this point, it's over, and we're not going to be able to flip him. Here's a question that we skipped, boys.
That's a good question.
I think we talked about this months ago. I think 9-3 in the SEC, depending on who the three losses are to, would get you in the 12-team playoff format. I really do. And 10-2, yeah, most likely. I mean, most conferences, especially if the Pac-12 falls apart, are going to get a couple teams in there. But it just depends, who the 10-2 and who your losses are in 9-3. I think between the SEC and the Big Ten, they're going to be pushing 6 teams into the playoffs every single year between the two conferences.
If you lose to Alabama, especially a close game, that's pretty much a win if you ask the committee. So I mean, you can lose a close one there, and then lose 2 more, and I think you can legitimately make it in the SEC.
Larry Johnson is one of the best defensive line coaches in the country.
Yeah, we did forget about him, but
we'll give him 3.
Depending on the year, I think in that 9-3 SEC team could make it. I have to look back at last year's SEC standings, but there might have been, well, maybe not actually, because the SEC, I mean, the top end is very, very good. I think what is different about the SEC that no other conference has is the environments. Every single 90% of the SEC stadiums can be intimidating away games. I don't think that's true about the Big 12 or the Big 10. Definitely not the Pac-12. Definitely not the ACC. If you just gotta, who you lose to definitely would help. But I think last year, like, you had Georgia at 1, and they were undefeated, right?
Yeah, and you also have, you have 4 teams in that conference last year, and this is counting bowl games. Georgia was 15-0, Tennessee 11-2, LSU 10-4, Alabama 11-2.
Yeah, so it's tough with 9 wins. Like, you maybe with an expanded, but 9 wins, like, everyone else has to really suck for 9 wins to get into a 12-team format. Because you still got to assume, like, my assumption is pretty much anyone that made it to a conference championship is going to make it to the playoff format, especially if it's a close championship game. Who knows? They might do away with championship games eventually just to try to get more teams in. If you're stacked 1 and 2 in the Big 12, like, Big 12 is decent enough where both of those probably should make it in. Like last year in a 12-team format, I think you could make an argument for K-State being in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for that, but I don't want to wish away the 2023 season yet. Braden Platt. Jimmy, there's been some rumors going around that he was going to make a quick visit down to Oklahoma for the party at the Palace. But I don't think that's actually going to end up happening. I think Oklahoma wants Braden Platt. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get him to leave Oregon. I know they've done, they've gotten guys out of the Pacific Northwest. I understand, but I think Dan Lanning is doing a great job, and he's going to be really hard to beat out for Braden Platt. unless you see him come visit before his September commitment. I forget. It's like mid to end of
second.
Okay.
Or 8th. Something like that.
Yeah. So if Platt makes a trip before his commitment, I would start to feel really good about Oklahoma. But as of now, I don't really expect him to be a part of this class. And I think with Oklahoma, the way that they've got the depth of the linebacker room and how young it is, I think they're okay with taking James Nesta, and that'd be the only guy. But I think Platt would be like the cherry on top. I don't think it's
I agree with you in thinking he's not going to come to Oklahoma. I think, he's going to end up at Oregon, but I disagree with you in thinking that we're okay with losing out on him or not. That kid's going to be special. He plays every single position at Yelm. Plays running back, linebacker, return shit. He's dynamic athlete, great size. I think he's going to be a fantastic college football player. It's going to suck that he doesn't commit to us, I think, at the end of the day. He's going to go to Oregon. He's going to have a great collegiate career, and it's going to suck. But it is what it is. You can't win every single one. Great players sometimes go elsewhere. But I think it's going to suck with this one.
He's kind of the Jaron Kanik of this recruiting class, the way you just put it. Jaron played basically he was the football team at his high school, and it seems like Braden is very similar at his high school. You just got to figure out, what is it going to take to get him to that area of the country.
If you're Oklahoma, obviously the coaches are doing everything they can, I imagine, because I agree with Braden. I think Oklahoma does want Braden Platt a lot. I would task Heath Ozida and Josiah Wagner as guys who really come from that state. And, they can relate to being so far from home. They can relate to literally anything that's Washington related and the transition to Oklahoma. And they can talk about the culture and the coaches and everything. I would have Josiah Wagner almost he can really step it up here being a defensive player too. I think Josiah Wagner can really help because players have a big impact on recruiting. We see it with David Stone. We see it with what Jackson Arnold did last year. I would task those guys with kind of getting in his ear and going after him.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, right? All hands on deck for him.
Here, got some quick questions here. When is Party at the Palace? I think it's Thursday through Saturday, maybe?
Thursday, Friday, and then no. Party at the Palace is Friday night, Saturday, and they leave Sunday. But Under the Stars is Thursday, Friday kind of deal. I can't remember. They back up to each other.
Yeah, it's it's next week. Later part of next week.
No, it's this week.
Or sorry, this week. My bad. Clemson, TJ Dudley. I don't know if Oklahoma has any interest in him. If they do end up, he's not eligible for this season anyways. So if he's not, assuming he doesn't commit somewhere else sometime in the fall, maybe Oklahoma takes a look, depending on what their linebacker depth looks like going into the spring.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
And then here we're probably going to do a video on this at some point. How's the defense going to be this season? Some people think it's going to be special.
I think Oklahoma's defense is obviously going to be better than it was last year. Do I think Oklahoma's going to have one of the best defenses in the country? Probably not. But I think it's going to be really competitive, and it's going to keep Oklahoma in a lot of games. I think towards the end of the season, they could become dominant. I think it's going to be a little bit of a growing pains there. I think Oklahoma probably will have a top 35 defense overall in the country, top 30, top 35, somewhere in there, and probably have a top 10 offense. And if you do that, and at the end of the day, at Oklahoma right now, the way that we believe that Jeff Levy can go score the ball and hopefully they get everything figured out, you're holding defenses or offenses to 20, 25 points a game. You're going to win those games at Oklahoma. And I think Oklahoma will take that next step into 2024 where they could truly become a dominant defense, in my opinion. I think there's going to be growing pains, but it's going to be dramatically better than it was last year.
This is a tough question for me to answer, just not being able to have seen last year. So I don't know who sucked, who didn't play very well, who was thriving. I can look at numbers and assume Danny Stutzman had a pretty good season. Up there at DB. I don't know. I didn't get to see it. But I think Oklahoma did a fantastic job in adding some veteran players to the defense that are going to be big-time contributors and significantly impact the performance of that defense. You look at guys like Reggie Pearson, who was a fantastic player at Texas Tech. He made, he was a solid, sound football player, a good tackler. He can play coverage. That's a big pickup for Oklahoma. He's a guy that I expect to see a lot on the field. I think you've got Peyton Bowen, who's going to play a lot as a freshman, who's going to be special. But along the defensive line specifically, that's where you're going to see the biggest transfer players having successful seasons with Rondell Bothrid, Trace Ford, and Deshaun McCullough, who I think, I've said it before, is going to be the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. I think with those 5 or 6 guys alone and some veteran experience out of the transfer portal, I think Brunk could be right. The top 30 defense, if he could be a top 25 defense with the top 10 offense, that's where you're scary.
Yeah, go ahead and sign us up for the national championship at that point. But I think more realistic is like top 50. I mean, that's significant improvement from last year. We were garbage last year defensively. I mean, they improved, and we talked about it last season. Brum and I did. Throughout the season, if you really watch the game and not just look at the final score, the defense got slightly better every game. It was a problem of not playing complementary football. The defense would get a stop, the offense would give the ball back within 30 seconds. And that is just hard for the defense to keep up with. They would make a few stops in a row, and they just didn't get a breather. They were barely on the sideline. I think that's the biggest problem. If Oklahoma can address playing complementary football, it will show how good the defense and the offense both are. Because last year the offense was good. They just couldn't score a point in the second or third quarter, seemingly. And time of possession needs to improve. I think that's for the offense. The keys will be time of possession and playing a whole game of good football, not just 2 quarters. For the defense, there were definitely a lot of holes. Tackling needs to improve, which with Brent Venables you would assume takes a big jump in year 2. Knowing the game plan, Venables has talked about it a lot. Basically, every defensive coach has talked about it a lot. It seemed like last year the guys were just thinking more so than they were actually playing the game. You would assume in year 2, they're not really having to do all that. That thought process is a lot quicker. It's more instinctual, and hopefully they play more complementary football so that even if they don't, right? If you have games where the offense does go back to those bad habits, you would assume that the depth that was picked up with how Brandon said, those transfers, the youth movement that's coming through, because I think Brent Venables said it himself. Like he noticed in himself last year, didn't play enough young guys. If he has to, I think he will this year, and just going to suck it up if they mess up. So things are going to be better for Oklahoma. I wouldn't go as far as even saying top 30. I think top 50 is kind of where you would say it's a successful and good improvement. Top 30, you shot for the stars and you hit. Like you landed the rocket on the moon and brought it back, kind of thing.
Well, I think part of it we talked about. Oklahoma's schedule isn't that difficult when you really look at it. I mean, they will benefit a little bit from maybe a little bit of a lighter schedule, and that might help with their rating. I mean, top 30, 35, 40, even 45 defense, just getting stops more times than not, that's a win. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all Oklahoma needs right now. So it's I feel pretty good about where Oklahoma's at. I feel better now than I did, say, 8 months ago.
I don't know.
Who's putting, who's kicking?
Question.
I don't. That's why I deferred to. Bro, who you got? Who's putting? Who's kicking?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Zach Schmidt, is he still there?
I think so, but I think there's like an open competition because Brandon, you weren't here, but the field goal kicking was less than stellar as well.
I did see the Texas Tech game, and that field goal definitely went in. That they said was no good, and I still don't, to this day, don't understand how they ruled that a kick no good. It doesn't even make sense. Like, your one job on the field, if you're those two referees, is literally to stand under the goddamn field goal post and look up to see if it fucking goes in or not. And it fucking went in, and they said no. And I don't, for the life of me, understand how that happens.
Yeah, Dominique, I hope you're right.
If we're top 20 defense, sign me up. I'm betting $100,000 on Oklahoma winning the national championship. If I had that much,
you're gonna throw $100.
You had that much. Yeah. I'd be curious if anyone that's watching north of 200 here, like, are there any specific videos that you guys are wanting to see us like actually record? Are there any specific breakdowns or things like that? Obviously, we're going to do the position group breakdowns. Is there anything you guys would like to see over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to the season? But I think this has been a pretty darn good live stream. What do you guys think?
This has been fun.
Yeah, I think successful. Shout out you guys for getting us over 200. We have been setting a new record for the channel every week that we've done this. But hopefully soon enough we're going to be getting in the thousands. But maybe that's a little bit eager. We'll go for 250 next week.
Yeah,
Definitely a bit eager.
We will try to. Keaton, me and Brum did do pregame streams last season for most games. I think there were a couple where we just couldn't make it happen, either being in Arizona, waking up at like 7 a.m. to do that stuff sometimes can be a little exhausting, but I'm going to try my darndest.
What if we did post-game live streams on games in which we're not in Norman? Because I think that could be a lot of fun, going live after a game, just when the emotions are raw. Because I know for a fact if Oklahoma wins big, I'm going to be on something. If Oklahoma loses a heartbreaker, so if somebody, I think that could be very interesting.
I called for Levy's job after the Texas game.
He did. I'll never forget that. Yeah. So no, we're going to definitely be doing some live streams.
God awful.
It was.
We don't have to revisit that travesty.
No, we don't.
It was a personnel problem, not a Levy problem.
Yeah, it was rough. So no, man, we hit like 215. Maybe next week we can go over 225. We'll keep this ball rolling. I hope it's top 5. I mean, that would be insane, but that would be fantastic.
Basically, top 5 defense, then we can get a bank loan to actually throw $100,000 down.
Yeah.
And
let's go to the nearest bank. Say, I got a great business proposition. Oklahoma's got a top 5 offense, top 5 defense. Basically guarantees you winning the national championship.
It is guaranteed at this point. Yeah. So then we can we can win. Yeah. Or we just sell his house. And then we can use that $100,000 to wager on the Sooners winning a title.
Take out a loan on Brum's house.
Yes,
that's how we get the $100,000.
When it hits, Brum, we do most of the winnings, obviously, but collect our.
Well, you'd get your $100,000 back plus interest, whatever interest would accrue in that couple weeks that we took the money. You take some of the winnings and we split the rest.
Yeah, sounds legit.
Top 5 offense, top 5 defense. I don't know how you don't win the national championship.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah, we can definitely do that as we get a little closer to the season starting. So,
Or was he asking you what your preseason record prediction is right now? Like, is this the question that's not a question mark?
Let's save it for a video. I think that's a good video idea. We're gonna do roster breakdowns like Brum said. We can figure out if you guys have suggestions, throw them in the chat, throw them in the comment section. We're always trying to think of ideas to keep the content fresh, a little bit different from everyone else because everyone covers recruiting and it's super fun. But got to try to figure out how to keep this stuff fresh for you guys so you're not watching the same thing on 10 different channels.
Yeah. Hell yeah, Sean, that's tight. Maybe we'll see you at one of those games.
Very true. So that's been really a good time. Hour and 10 minutes. We apologize. We started at 8:06. Jose was late and sold us.
Jose was late.
But yeah.
Fake news.
We'll have to get the bet figured out. Well, I guess we got to figure it out, right? Hey, let's end it with this. So we've got a bet. So Jose is going to have to shave his beard if it's a top 4 class.
Top
And
3
then-
class. No. That's
It's top
We're at
4 because if
No,
it's top
not
3, if it's
4.
top 4, it's close, and that's top
No,
3.
you
where
can't
are
just.
saving.
That's some bullshit.
That's
No,
how
the
it
line,
works.
If the line is 3.5, I lose if it's top 3.
It doesn't
and
matter. If it's
I
top
win
4, you lose.
if it's
top 4, you
4 or
lose.
worse.
If it's top,
No.
you wanted to shave. We're just giving you a reason.
I don't
to.
know. Not that bad.
No. You told me that face to face. I was there. I'm not making that up.
No. Not that bad. The deal is top 3. That's what we agreed on. And Brandon just decided to move the fucking field goal post because he's thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna lose if Oklahoma loses one of these recruits. Don't want to make a video. No, it's top 3, bitch.
All right, top 3. That's fine. I feel good. Williams Maneri, Dominic McKinley, David Stone will all commit, and we'll be happy, and we'll be top.
Yeah, I
3
mean,
there.
if that's a happen, we might as well. We might even be number 2. Like it'd be the stretch, but you got it.
Yes, and then our punishment, Brandon and I's punishment, we'll be making a Space Force recruitment video, and we will put it in the beginning of one of our live streams or a regular
It might
video.
just become the new intro for 2 Point Sports forever.
Actually, that would be elite to do that.
Yeah.
We should definitely figure that out.
We'll figure it out, but you guys have to make some sort of intro for these live streams.
That'd be
Space Force
fun.
recruiting video. It's got to be 30 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna have
All
to
right.
get our creative shoes on for that, but yeah, that's
We've got a lot of time. Honestly, we should probably come up with an intro anyway, but that would give us even more of a reason. So.
we already have the 30-second countdown. That's the best intro of all time.
The
for
most
now.
exhilarating intro of all time. Come to 2 Point Sports. We got you.
Yes. All right. Well, again, if you made it this far, be sure to like, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. And we are going live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central, so mark it on your calendars for next Tuesday. And at that point, next Tuesday is August 1st, so Michael Patterson McDonald will have announced at that point, and all the recruiting weekend that's going to be happening. There's going to be a lot to talk about, so we'll catch you guys next Tuesday.